see it's getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either stopped. Not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed. Free ride to the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
These guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill.
This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yes, if we will ram off the track in the final quarter, that'll have Fuller to get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller for turn 1. And Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try here, boys. They're going to do it. Briscoe backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Briscoe going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall. And Sarah Testa hits him as well. That's big damage on these cars. That's huge.
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out in every single lane, trying to then run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour event.
John Miller way deep on the brakes to the inside of turn number 1 and 2. The spin, the 3 car gets turned around in front of the car.
James Howden looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. A bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15th or 16th spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide off of this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door-to-door, banging doors, fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
While the real IndyCar season has come to an end, we still have a lot of racing on tap. In fact, 2 races in particular leading up to the championship race and the championship finale. Next race at Auto Club, but for tonight we're here at Iowa Speedway, just a little bit away in Newton, Iowa, getting ready to have this race unfold. It's a tight race for the championship between Philip Krause and Adam Blocker. We'll see if it's going to get tighter, or maybe we'll see that championship battle spread out. My name's Finny Kuna here with Connor Horn. Connor, glad to have you in the booth with me once again for some fantastic IndyCar action here at Iowa.
Yeah, thank you, Finny, and I appreciate being here with you every time. It's always a blast, and it's going to be very exciting. Iowa is one of those tracks that, especially in Indy cars, it can just take your breath away. Such a tiny track at only 3/4 of a mile, but it takes your breath away. The speeds we're going to see from these Indy cars, up to 190 miles per hour, maybe even higher. It's going to be a blast to watch.
Absolutely. Again, for the most part, qualifying underway here, and for the most part, already sorted out. Jason Brophy currently sitting on the top of the timesheet, so looking to see if he can continue on and potentially get a win. Got to double check with myself and see if he has a win in this series so far. If not, looking forward to picking up another one. Philip Krause right behind him, and David Adams in 3rd place.
Yep, Adams with a strong time there. I think he was actually the top of the boards in practice. Maybe. No, that was Philip Krause, but only 100th were separated from them. Actually, no, it was Henry Bennett, excuse me. But there's 3 drivers at the top of the pylon come practice, and one of them, Henry Bennett, who was the top of practice, has not qualified yet, maybe waiting for the track to cool down a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Iowa Speedway, constructed in 2005. I keep forgetting how recently this track was constructed. It feels like it's been around since the 90s or 80s, but yeah, at least for me, I don't know, I'm probably just the only person that thinks that. But yeah, I was also glad to see too that this track was a bit uncertain what its future is going to be after not having IndyCar for this particular season due to COVID, but it's going to be back on the schedule in real life, not only for 1 race but 2 races next year. So glad to see that Iowa is going to continue to exist, because I would have really actually missed this track if it didn't end up going anywhere. It's also especially after it lost its NASCAR date too, and I don't think, has NASCAR announced that they're coming back here?
No, the schedules are out. I don't think they're going back to Iowa, which is a shame, because I think Xfinity's a bit hit or miss sometimes, but the trucks usually always deliver. They had a lot of really good races. You have to finish in the trucks where I think I don't remember who exactly won. I think it might have been Brett Moffitt, but Noah Gregson had a dive, sort of like the Carl Edwards video game move from Kansas. He tried to go just ride the wall, basically wall bounce to win. Didn't work, but this track consistently produces really high-class finishes in open wheel and stock car racing. So I wish stock cars were back here, but we're still going to get 2 IndyCar races, and they should be both blasts.
Andrew Ward currently out there qualifying. 10th place is only going to be, it's only up to 10th place on his first lap as he comes flying through turns 3 and 4. And back onto the straightaway. Should be a little bit faster. Going to dive all the way down low just to get every thousandth of a second. And up into 3rd for Wood after a late qualifying effort. Good enough to be in the top 3 in row number 2. So really good effort for him. I see Ray Kingsbury also has decided to come out on track.
Yeah, he's going to try to put down the lap here. He was also pretty fast in practice, and I keep one-upping myself because like Kingsbury was actually the fastest in practice. I keep not knowing what the times were. I apologize for that, but Kingsbury definitely the fastest in practice. He was putting down a lot of qualifying runs. I think he didn't have as many practice laps as a lot of these guys, but he was practicing qualifying a lot. And we'll see if that practice pays off. A bit sideways, see the rear end kind of wiggle there through turn number 4. Is it going to be fast enough for pole? No.
Only up to 11th for now. Definitely that second lap looks to be the killer lap. You got to nail that. You're really the first lap. You're warming up the tires. And Kingsbury nice and tight to the apex in 3 and 4. Going to also dive all the way down low. Will it matter? Will it count for him? Up to 4th. I mean, still pretty decent effort for him, but I think passing is going to come at a bit of a premium. Tony Schowen running the high lane on his first timed lap, and now will shift down low. A little bit of a low entry. Oh, I think might have actually kind of botched that entry, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that's really where you want to enter. I think he should have just stayed high and just went for a second lap, but we'll see how good this second lap is. And meanwhile, Henry Bennett, another fast guy in practice, he's on track to start his second lap soon. Tony Schowen goes 13th on the board. Actually, no, that's 12th on the board, right in front of Alexander Ball.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that. You typically want to go from high to low. Entering mid of the corner, not exactly ideal, and I think we saw that with Tony Schowen going to be starting towards the back end of the grid. 007 for Henry Bennett, across the line for him. Will it be good enough for only 8th is where it'll put him, and it looks like Joe Branch will be, at least for now, is not going to be out on track. Get quite a bit of time. It doesn't take too long for a qualifying run, only about a minute. Actually, not even a minute, pretty much 45, 50 seconds for a full qualifying run. Your out lap and then 2 timed laps.
He's got about 20 seconds, 15 seconds to do it, but he has not gotten on track yet. Everyone else is qualified. I believe Trevor Greenfield was the last qualifier. He put down a 16.555, good enough for 10th. About a 10th, actually, off of Jason Brophy, who looks like he's going to be the pole sitter because Joe Branch still not in the car, so that should end qualifying.
All right, then we got, I guess before we qualifying ends, we'll talk about the points battle. Really, it's a matter of, it's pretty much down to 2 drivers unless some major things happen here. Philip Kraus and Adam Blocker have been in an amazing title fight throughout the season, been constantly going back and forth between both of those drivers, one usurping the other week after week. Kraus 6 wins to his name, Blocker only 3. Blocker's been just a little bit more consistent, though, than Philip Kraus, and been able to get some nice points here and there. For the deficit, though, Blocker is 27 points back from Phil Kraus, which may seem like a lot, but, I mean, with 2 races to go, and especially considering Auto Club is a double points race being part of the Triple Crown. We had double points at Pocono and Indianapolis this season. We should expect for that to matter quite a bit. Good chance for Blocker to get back some points. I do need to double check. I'm pretty sure I saw Blocker on the grid. Yes, because I know sometimes we haven't seen him. He has may have some real life things to attend to, but he is here tonight as well as Philip Kraus. So they'll be able to duke it out once again.
Yeah, and that double points race is going to be huge. We've seen championships that seemed in the bag lost because of double points. Specifically, I think it was Juan Pablo Montoya, maybe 2015 or whatever year that was, lost out to Scott Dixon because of the double points at Sonoma, and Montoya just didn't have that good of a race. So it can be a big factor in this championship race, and whoever has the upper hand coming out of Iowa is going to be in the best spot possible to just run their race in Auto Club. And Auto Club, another track where championships can be decided. I think we saw 2012, Will Power spins out, battling his rival Ryan Hunter-Reay, wrecked out and gave Hunter-Reay the championship. So anything can really happen when you get to a track as wild as Auto Club.
Indeed, here, and let's go through as the drivers begin to grid out on track. Let's go through your starting lineup. I didn't mean to hit that because that is still not working. I meant to go to the ticker because that shows the accurate information. So let's go through your starting lineup. Jason Brophy starting on pole. Right next to him in second place is Philip Kraus in the number 19. Andrew Wood will be lined up in third in the number 64 car, with Ray Kingsbury in the 25 in fourth place.
And then rounding out the top 5, David Adams with a 16.524. Alongside him, Andreas Eich, who's third in the points. Just barely had a rough second half, but he's trying to get it back going. Adam Blocker is rounded out 7th, and then Henry Bennett is going to be 8th alongside him, and Chris Stouffer, a good qualifying run for him, in 9th, and Trevor Greenfield, the last qualifier, actually tied Stouffer's time, so the 5th row has got the same time, so 16.555 for both of them.
Yeah, and also looking in behind them, AJ Musselman, we lined up in 11th in the number 54. Evan Adams lined up in 12th in the 59. Andrew Kinsella going to be lined up in 13th, sharing row number 7 with Tony Shout, who's outside in the 31. Alexander Ball in 15th in the 45. Last but certainly not least, Joe Branch is going to be lined up in 16th, rounding out 8 rows of drivers for tonight. A smaller field than what we'd probably expect, but I think the action is definitely going to be up there with these guys. Passing is going to definitely be a tough thing to perform tonight. These guys are going to have to pretty much rely on a lot of the guys in front of them making mistakes and then rebounding from that, getting nice runs off the corner. There's going to be a lot of setup involved in these passes. And also, speaking of setup, your setup that you chose to run here too. Some of the guys definitely preferring to set up their cars for more clean air. Some of these guys setting up their cars to run in traffic, also definitely going to be a big factor.
Yeah, and it's going to get harder and harder to pass as the night sets here. The sun is going to go fully down if it's not fully down already. So those lines are going to get a bit less spread out. That top line, which I think I would expect to see in 3 and 4, even in these Indy cars, it can work. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see that when the sun sets and night falls over this entire racetrack. As the track cools down, it's going to be probably more throttle being used, although a lot of the cars in practice have looked pretty sideways. A lot of oversteer from a lot of guys, especially in turn 3 and 4. So it's going to be interesting to see if any lines might prevail. Maybe the top line prevails because you don't get as loose up there. Who knows?
Yeah, there you see Philip Kraus line up in second place. He's got relatively clean air in front of him. And then looking a little bit further back, there's Adam Blocker, about 6 places back. He's got to make up to try to catch Philip Kraus and finish ahead of him in the standings. You'll see that glare just in behind the ticker there. It is pretty strong, especially if you're in VR. That thing is next to blinding. So for those who are racing in VR, good luck with that until the sun sets. You're going to be having to deal with some glare off into turn number 3. For guys, even without VR, it could still be pretty blinding, but we'll see how it is here as the pace car turns off on the pit row, and we are green here at Iowa for the Iowa 160. Lap number 1 complete. Jason Brophy up ahead, and there you see him behind Ray Kingsbury, already trying to make some moves to the inside of Andrew Wood for third place. He's going to try to rocket that inside lane, but Wood getting a great run. Some contact between them, though. Looks like Kingsbury's car is okay.
That was very close to a big accident, and a lot of these guys wouldn't have wanted to see that. Already seeing a lot of things single file out here, and that's just Kingsbury sort of a desperation move because he knows when the tires are fresh, that's when you want to try to make those passes, and it's going to be very difficult if we get a long run to make those passes.
Okay, so David Adams in behind trying to take advantage of Kingsbury being off the pace, trying to regather everything as he almost just saw his race end on lap number 2. But is going to keep things calm and collected and move on from there. Brophy already taking off, trying to break away from Philip Kraus, who's slowly starting to rail him back in. Blocker, not particularly good start, ended up dropping 1 place to his teammate Henry Bennett. In behind them, Kinsella trying to make some work on Chris Stouffer for 9th place.
Neither of these guys. Actually, no. Stouffer stayed in 9th. Kinsella is probably the biggest mover so far, 13th to 10th. Only 3 positions, but that's a lot on the start of a race to be able to make those moves. He's going to make another move to the bottom of Chris Stouffer. Stouffer running that high line in 3 and 4 like I thought some people might try. Not getting the run that I would think you'd get, but it's going to be able to easily defend Kinsella for now.
Yeah, a little bit of a flash for Kinsella there, but he's going to continue to ride that bottom. Everyone else is up on top. I imagine everyone else is trying to play it a little bit more conservative, watch their tires, not wear them out too quickly. Kinsella's saying, forget that, he's going to take another spot, up 4 places now. And also up ahead, Kingsbury's gotten the pass done on Andrew Wood. Let's see if we can catch where that happened. This is off into turn number 1, I think lap or 2 ago. Through to the inside, was able to make it stick, and Wood easily going to let him on by. I think, again, a lot of these guys looking at the long game here, but we'll see how well that's going to play out. Philip Kraus still trying to bear down on Jason Brophy, and you cannot really beat that clean air here.
No, you can't. Clean air is your best friend. Ooh, car almost into a wall. That was almost Stouffer, but he kept it out of it. Clean air is going to be your best friend. If you have an opportunity to stay out and get track position, if the pit strategy works for you, if you come out way higher than you would have, you got to keep that track position. It's going to be track position, track position, track position. That's all you're going to want tonight.
Ooh, Tony Schowen, though, ended up losing a place. He's currently in a battle with Ball on the inside. Ball going to have to fall back one spot into 16th. And Schowen trying to get a spot from... Ooh, he's even going to squeeze out Evan Adams there. He's going to hold on to 14th for now. Not a particularly good start to Schowen's day. He's only pretty much stuck back in 14th. Meanwhile, side-by-side battle here. AJ Musselman, Trevor Greenfield on the bottom. Musselman up top, but not going to get it done. You got Joe Branchin behind in 13, trying to lick his chops and make up one more spot.
He's also another big mover. 16th to 13th, last to 13th, so... him and Kinsella, the bigger movers so far. We'll see if the tires can hold up, as we're really not seeing the outside line get formed up at all. Drivers that are running up there just aren't getting the runs that they want to be able to make passes. But also on the flip side, it's working so far to defend, as looking at the battle for 8th, Adam Blocker's been running the top, and Andrew Kinsella can't really pass him for that. Blocker goes bottom 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 he runs the top and he can maintain.
Now take a look at Blocker here. Very close battle here. Bennett up ahead of Blocker. Kinsella in behind. And you can see Blocker trying to make that car stick to the bottom, but it's a tough thing to do. I mean, once these tires go just about, 10 to 20 laps, they're going to start to wear off. They're not going to feel as good, especially down near the bottom when you're trying to make them work their hardest. And you can see Blocker, he's just trying to find something, set up a pass to get done on Bennett, but so far no dice.
Speaking of passes, we had a pass for second. Ray Kingsbury is flying. He might be the fastest car on the track right now. Got by Philip Kraus for second. Hasn't looked back, and he's charging for the lead on Jason Brophy.
Yeah, trying to still take a look at Adam Blocker here, working the inside. Not quite getting past Bennett, but you mentioned Ray Kingsbury, a man on the move. We'll see if we can catch that pass that he made for the second position.
I think it was in the turn number 1.
It looked like they actually be a while back. We'll just cut back live because it seemed to be quite a bit. He's already actually about to start making some inroads on first place there. Look at that. He really is on the move.
The setup he's got right now is working very well. It doesn't look like the dirty air is really disrupting his car too much, and especially when you avoid the dirty air like he did through 3 and 4 there, it's going to work wonders. Gets a good run. Can't get alongside Brophy, but still making inroads as these two start to pull away from Kraus.
And this is what we're talking about. Setting up your car for dirty air, setting your car up for more cleaner air is really a big thing. You can make your car faster, but it might, when you get stuck back in traffic, it can really hurt you. And we've seen that with quite a few people. Some of the guys that typically like to run on the front, you're going to set it up more to be in clean air. But once they drop back, they find it really hard to work their way on through. With some of the guys who are typically more in the back, they'll set their car up to manage that traffic. And that helps them get to a certain point, but then they kind of stall out because their car is just not handling as well. You can see Kingsbury now trying to get it done. Maybe dial up the weight jacker, get the setting just right, but you got to watch that right rear because that could wear out on you in a hurry. And I think I heard some contact noise like he hit the wall.
Not sure if he hit the wall there, but Adam Blocker, he finally just got by Henry Bennett, so that puts him up to 7th, 1 spot closer to Kraus. But he is about 3 seconds behind Kraus right now, so he's got work to do if he wants to go up to battle him. And meanwhile, Evan Adams brought it to pit road, might have called in an early exit. No damage on the car, just he was running about 16th place. I think that was everyone who was in the race, so he just was not having a good run.
Yeah, there's how Adam Blocker was able to get the pass done on Henry Bennett, up into 7th for him. And in behind them, Kinsella and Bennett getting very close together.
Battle for the lead brewing. Kingsbury's all over the rear of Brophy now. Brophy not protecting the bottom. Gonna let Kingsbury try to run that bottom. Gets pretty much dead even almost alongside at the front stretch. Brophy leads that lap, but Kingsbury's got the positioning.
Yeah, and it looks like Brophy's trying to rely on that top lane getting the run. You can see this is a great camera angle to look at just that run off the corner. It's so hard to beat. Yeah, Kingsbury can definitely poke his nose and sometimes actually be ahead by the time they get to the line. But when it comes down to it, getting the pass done, that outside lane, you really kind of want to be there, if not set up a really good passing opportunity. Here comes Kingsbury, but that run off of 2 especially.
This might be his best chance here, as Brophy's not going to be able to clear him. Kingsbury's going to roll bottom, not quite clear, gets the right rear to the left front, though, and he finally leads a lap, does Kingsbury. But actually, no, he didn't lead that lap by 2 1,000ths, and he still can't complete it.
great back and forth between these two drivers for the lead. And even while they're battling, they're actually still keeping a decent amount of distance away from Philip Kraus. Kraus has not been able to quite reel him in.
He has been a little bit faster by a tenth over these guys the past few laps, so definitely bring him back into this fight, as well as David Adams, who's chilled in 4th, gained a spot from where he started in 5th. Things starting to spread out amongst maybe the top 7 or so. The battle for 8th is still hard, though.
Yeah, it looks like Kingsbury looks like he's really down on the way. Jack Ricard a little bit twitchy on the exit of 3 and 4. We're going to rocket the thing down on the outside. He's going to slam the door shut, and new leader, definitively, right? Kingsbury are going to take the lead out of 3 and 4. They see Brophy trying to throw that car back down to the bottom, but can't quite get it done. He's going to be facing a lot of wash now that he's got to deal with Kingsbury up in front.
What I saw from there is that you saw how well Ray Kingsbury was able to fire that car to the inside to turn 3, and it stuck so well. And when you see Jason Brophy, he tried to do that same thing, and he didn't even come close to Kingsbury. Kingsbury's got a very loose type setup. I've seen his rear end twitching in practice and in the race, so he's definitely got a risky setup, but it's a fast setup. Look how much of a gap he's already put on Brophy.
Yeah, it's kind of really impressive. We saw him on a move, and I guess that's the reason why he's already a second and then some clear of Brophy. So drivers, watch out for Ray Kingsbury tonight, because he's definitely the man to beat.
Henry Bennett and Kinsella, I think, almost came together, almost made contact. Bennett keeps the 8th position. Now Kinsella side by side with Greenfield. Greenfield gets by him. That was a big moment off of turn 4.
Yeah, I saw our scoring lighting up green and red for these guys switching positions constantly. I think this was it coming to 3 and 4 off of 3 and 4. I think next time by. Right
here, I think this is Kinsella going low. And almost runs out of room. Almost one car in the wall, one car almost going towards the inside wall. That was a close one.
Definitely was a close one there. You see now back live, Greenfield on the back of Henry Bennett. Greenfield's been moving up a little bit, starting in 10th up into 9th, looking at getting 8th. If he can make something happen to the inside of Bennett's got a car clear, and actually looks like he might have then some to the inside he will go, but that run off the corner, though, he's got to maintain, and nothing quite there on this occasion.
The battle for the lead is non-existent now. Ray Kingsbury over 3/10 faster, 3/10 faster than the guys behind him, Brophy, Kraus, and Adams. 3/10.
Yeah, you can barely see. And actually, as he goes into the corner, you can't see anyone in behind Kingsbury at all. I think this car is probably going to be called to the garage for post-race inspection, because
definitely not legal.
He's figuring out something a lot of these guys haven't. Because wow. 3 seconds clear. That being said, Brophy is actually also losing quite a bit of time, because Philip Kraus and David Adams have both caught up to him, so I think there might be a little bit more to this tale. Brophy might have pushed his car a little bit too hard.
Could be pushing his car too hard, or just could be the wrong setup for clean air. That being said, he is in clean air now, because Kingsbury's so far ahead, and the car is just still not performing to what he wants. He's now only a 10th off. That was a big moment, but really this is going to be interesting to see what Kraus and Adams can do to pass Brophy, because Brophy, in my opinion, is slowing these two down. And unless one of these two can get by him, Ray Kingsbury's going to be gone.
Yeah, this race already flying by. We're already a quarter of the way through this race in a few laps' time. So this race is flying on by, similar to Ray Kingsbury. We'll see if these guys are going to come up with anything, because, again, it is looking to be pretty hard. It's going to take quite a few laps, 5-10 laps, to try to get a move done on your opponent. As I think we just saw Andrew Wood and Blocker exchange position. Wood going to try to get a run. Can't quite get it done. And this is how that pass happened, heading off into the back straightaway. Blocker, great run off of turn number 2. And just stuck to the inside, Wood giving him room.
Yeah, Wood, I think, kind of knew he was faster, so he just pretty much gave that position. That's Blocker up 1 position after losing, I believe, a position on the start. Once again, still about 5 seconds at this point behind Philip Kraus, maybe closer to 4.5, but he's still got time to make it up, as Andrew Wood really trying to get that way top line working right against the wall. It's just not coming in quite yet. Another battle, Henry Bennett, Trevor Greenfield still battling each other, as Kinsella's followed off that battle.
Yeah, and Bennett's been trying to, it looked like his car was doing pretty well early on, but not quite, as Greenfield's been making some moves to the inside. He'll go yet again. Problem is, does he have enough car to work it around Bennett? Bennett's been getting those great runs off of the corner. Greenfield's still present, but gets kind of pushed out of the way off of turn number 2.
Finally we got lap traffic coming into play already, right? Kingsbury's already lapped Alexander Ball. He's got Tony Schoen right in front of him now. AJ Musselman would be next, 3 seconds up the road. And Brophy hasn't lost as much as of late to Kingsbury. As a matter of fact, he's pulled Kraus and Adams as they battle amongst themselves. So maybe Brophy getting some new life in those tires, possibly.
Yeah, getting new life in the tires, maybe messing with the weight checker or the anti-roll bar can also deny the effectiveness of playing with those settings, especially as the sun starts to set. Still haven't seen the lights come on, but those are only going to be in just a little bit. The track definitely starting to cool. In fact, we can actually take a look. I completely forgot to take a look at the weather. Looking at the track, Tim, 74 degrees. Imagine it's probably just a little bit cooler before we started. So the track typically starts to heat up once these cars start rolling off away, but it's expected to get a little bit cooler as the night goes on.
Tony Schoen's on pit road, and also Andrew Wood is going to hit pit road. He comes above that yellow line. I'm interested to see how that gets ruled, but Wood will pit this time, so this could be the start of scheduled pit stops.
Yeah, and what I'll try to rewind here to what Connor Horn is referring to here is they come off of turn number 2. Drivers are expected to kind of commit to before the double yellow line, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're supposed to commit before
that was what was said, but he clearly committed after the double yellow line started, and then he came above when it was a single yellow line, so I'm not sure how that's going to be ruled.
Yeah, we'll see. There are no live race admins for this series, so we'll see if they're going to take that kindly or if something's going to happen. Looks like Wood, at least for now, he's off and away. We'll see if there is a post-race penalty, though.
See if there's anyone else on pit road. Nope, just Evan Adams, really, who called it a night early. And that would only put 2 people who stopped, Schoen and Andrew Wood, the only ones to pit so far. So maybe trying an extra stop, or maybe a lot of drivers just going that extra bit further.
Alright, sorry, just had to correct a little bit of a something. We'll come back live right here. It's taking a look up. Forgot to get rid of the forgot rid of the Sim UI. You can tell we've been doing this for a long time, right?
What are you talking about? We got this.
Taking a look at Andrew Wood ripping around Greenfield with some fresher tires. Also going to dive to the inside of Henry, but it's also been a good somewhat of a decent indication to see if fresher tires are worth anything, and I imagine them to be worth a little bit, especially when you're in dirty air.
David Adams actually got by Philip Kraus. Speaking of David Adams, he's going to pit this time. He also didn't commit. He also didn't get under the double yellow line, so maybe it's just when you see the double yellow line, you have to commit where that double yellow line is, because it doesn't last too long. So,
yeah, so good thing. Thanks for the clarification there. What I hope is clarification.
Christopher Ray Kingsbury's in. The race leader is in.
Yeah, I was gonna say there. It looks like there's everyone's starting to pile on into pit road. There you see Stouffer and Kingsbury. I was getting confused because both of these guys have black and yellow cars.
Henry Bennett's in.
And there is Jason Brophy also diving in. Now, that being said, if you can dive in where those double yellow lines are and not before, you really want to make sure you maximize, because you can actually lose or gain quite a bit of time depending on how carefully or how aggressively you take the apron now on entry. We've seen time and time again that the run onto pit road is one of the most important aspects when it comes to these pit stops, especially because you don't really have to worry about your pit crew being fast or not, because it's random. But not too aggressively in the randomness. As you can see, a little bit of a lockup from Philip Kraus on a pit lane.
Andreas Ike comes in behind him. Not too many left out there. Adam Blocker, though, he's playing chance here. Maybe he thinks he needs to do this to get in front of Kraus, possibly. He, barely darted by Alexander Ball, who was pitting. He actually came above the line himself. Again, don't know how that's going to be ruled, but he is in the pit road. He went a bit longer than Kraus. Watch this. Barely chopped him, then comes over the line with all 4. So I don't know how. Really not sure how to rule that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where are they going to rule it by the letter, as we see. Caution out on track. Not sure who that was for.
Don't see anyone.
Huh.
I have no idea.
Any chatter in the race?
No, not yet. I'm trying to see when
a driver missing a wing, and his name is Andrew Kinsella. This has a story to it. There's coming off of turn number 2. There's Henry Bennett. Kinsella. Hard impact to the inside wall and back to the outside. Wow.
Wow! Did someone almost hit him there? That is a huge mistake to make. He was still on. I guess he was still on old tires. Hadn't hit yet.
Yeah, and again, also big thing too, that weight jacker, you really have to dial it back down after a run. Oh, might
that
almost...
also be brakes.
Yeah, brakes as well.
You might sorry, these drivers might try putting a lot of rear brake into it to maybe get through the corners better. And it looked like when he started to brake to get onto the apron, that car just shot to the left. And
Yeah,
he
I think
had no
that
control.
definitely had some trouble on the brakes. Had a little bit of a lockup in one of the tires, and then just threw the car to the inside wall. Well, caution, that's going to change quite a bit because we weren't completely through that pit cycle. And one of the guys that stayed out
was Adam Blocker. But the thing is, he just came into the pits, I believe.
Sorry. Yeah, he did just come in. But I think that's still going to benefit him as, you know, guys like Philip Kraus and the guys that pit, they weren't able to completely come back to Adam Blocker and other guys that were still in the sequence. So, yeah. So, correction. Didn't stay out, but still benefited from it with the caution coming out mid-cycle as everyone else had to slow down and not catch back up to him. I'm curious to see how many guys put a lap down. Not too many.
I'm seeing 3 drivers on the lead lap right now. AJ Musselman, Joe Branch, and Adam Blocker. And I think out of those guys, Blocker might have been the only one who was on pit road when that caution came out. But this could really be huge for Adam Blocker. That is such a break to catch in a championship battle.
Yeah, that's one of those things a lot of people, especially in the IndyCar, typically try to wait for the pit cycle to kind of run out just in case the driver makes a mistake coming to pit road, or especially with the difference in fresher tires to the older tires, that speed difference can catch some guys out. You can see a wreck occur because of that. Some of the guys like to wait a little bit longer just to see if there indeed is a caution that comes out, because like you said, you could benefit quite a bit. Like we're seeing with Adam Blocker, guys like Phil Kraus all the way back in 9th. And especially looking at our former race leader is stuck back in 4th, Ray Kingsbury. A little bit of work for him to do to get back up, but if he does anything like what we saw at the start of the race, he should be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. The only problem is he's going to have a little bit less fresher tires. Got some laps on the tires. Pretty much everyone has laps on the tires except for Musselman, Branch, Blocker, and that's pretty much it. Everyone else had pit a few laps prior, so I'm interested to see what Blocker's car can do in relatively cleaner air, because it's definitely didn't look like he was that fast in traffic. It wasn't terrible, just really kind of neutral. Wasn't gaining on Kraus, was about 5 seconds behind him, so this could really change his season.
And again, you're watching the Iowa 160 for the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo Indy Elite Series here at Iowa. It's the penultimate race of the season finale, as I alluded to earlier, is again not next week, but I think if I'm doing my math right, it's in 2 weeks' time. That'll be October 19th, and you're definitely not going to want to miss that, especially if you love IndyCar oval racing. Auto Club is a fantastic venue. And I still think that the real-life series should go back. Understandable why they don't, and while they're a little bit hesitant to go back. But I think definitely the series could benefit from a lot of that kind of wheel-to-wheel action on the oval. I mean, you look at Texas prior to its repave, the racing was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely prior to the repave. That goes
prior to the repave and slathering the track in PJ1, because it absolutely ruined the IndyCar racing there.
PJ1 doesn't help either, no.
Yeah, it completely ruined the track for IndyCar. I mean, you could argue it's benefit for NASCAR, but it made it next to undrivable for the IndyCar series.
I don't even think it benefits for the Cup Series. I think it's just a bad track.
That too.
I just don't think they didn't do a good job on that track. And plus, at Auto Club, the Indy cars really only have one more shot to go there. The Cup cars go there in, I think, March, and that'll be the last time on that 2-mile oval before they make it into the short track that they were planning on doing, which is not the worst idea. To be honest, the layout for that short track doesn't look terrible. Can be a classic.
No, it also makes sense for the track, I think, sustainability-wise. But
possibly, but it also just go to Irwindale, which is a pretty good short track.
That'll be definitely interesting to see. Just like this restart here, we got AJ Musselman in the lead, Joe Branch in second, Adam Blocker in third, Kingsbury fourth, David Adams in fifth. This entire order has been kind of flipped on its head here. We'll see how this plays out with some new drivers up near the front. Pace cars in, and we are back green here at Iowa.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Musselman the leader. All these guys are on new tires. The other guys had to take wave arounds. We actually got, I think, one lap car is in the mix with the leaders. I'm trying to see who that is.
That is Greenfield, if I'm not mistaken, and he's already getting passed by Joe Brandt. Oh, sorry, that is Stouffer. Yeah, that thought they looked similar for a second. But yeah, Stouffer up there in second place, and we see Joe Brandt trying to make work of Stouffer. Can't quite get it done. Here comes Blocker, ripping around the outside lane, going to go up in a second.
Look at the big move. Ray Kingsbury, excuse me, made a big dive to the bottom there on Tony Schoen, who is another lap car there. Kingsbury's going to get by him and have clear track to Joe Branch and Adam Blocker. Blocker's up to second, but he's got a lap car of Stouffer in between him and Musselman.
Yeah, Philip Kraus dealing with not only just the guys he's got to fight through, but also some lap cars in the mix, as we mentioned. No lap cars to the back here for IndyCar. You're pretty much just staying in line. You see Bennett trying to throw it to the inside of Andrew Wood. Kraus just trying to find some lane on through.
And a big gaggle for that 5th position. Adams, Schoen's going to get out of the way. He's on the bumps in 1 and 2. Car shooting up the racetrack. That's Wood right in front of the points leader. That could have been catastrophic. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 3. Barely not. Wood's going to hold on for now. He's going to wash up the racetrack 3 wide again, trying to hold his line. How did they not wreck?
Yeah, 3 wide and still not completely sorted out. It looks like it's somewhat calmed down for now. There's Bennett going to wash up the track. Andrew Wood trying to get a run for 9th place, but wow, that was seconds from disaster right there.
And meanwhile, Blocker has Ray Kingsbury all over the rear of him, and I don't know how much Blocker can really do to defend him. He's got to get by Chris Stouffer to even have a chance at that, but Stouffer will not let him go. Kingsbury's got the run. Will he look low? He does, but Blocker takes that line away.
Yeah, last time I checked, these guys are teammates, Stouffer and Blocker. A bit surprised why he hasn't let him out of the way. But
Blocker is in a points battle. He doesn't know if Kraus is going to get through the field or not. There's a big points difference between 2nd and 7th. It could be for the points lead if he can keep this track position.
Whoa, as you see, Rick Kingsbury, as he was not, as Blocker trying to make a dive on Stouffer, couldn't get it done. Kingsbury up in his 2nd place and now trying to make a dive on Stouffer.
Oh, that's going to get close. He almost cleared himself when he wasn't clear right there. As Stouffer's, I don't think he's going to have a chance to hold off Kingsbury. That 25 is so fast. Stouffer's car doesn't look too bad either. He's actually going to shoot back to the bottom of Kingsbury.
Oh, wow. I'm kind of amazed by that. It looked like Kingsbury had the move said and done, but a switchback from Kingsbury going to get it done. Here comes Blocker, now going to have an easy lane and an easy look up the inside of Stouffer, and is going to get the move done.
Stouffer is not going to let him go too easily. Actually, no. This time he will stay behind the 74 of Blocker, so no shenanigans yet there. Stouffer just trying to stay as high up as he can. Kind of got screwed by that deal on that yellow, just like everyone else did, but one person who definitely got the benefit of the doubt is AJ Musselman. I don't know where he was before the yellow, but he definitely wasn't really battling in the top 5, so this is a huge benefit, and he's got a 1-second lead here, but how long can he keep that lead from Kingsbury?
I would be sweating if I was him, because Kingsbury's car is stupid fast tonight. It's like looking at, the difference between Red Bull and Mercedes compared to the rest of the field. That's what Rick Kingsbury is dealing with tonight. He's got a extremely fast car, and even for Blocker too, I'm curious to see now that he's up in some slightly clean air and not being stuck back midfield, and he's got anything to say for not only Musselman but also for Kingsbury once it starts to close back in.
Trying to calculate the points by what I see. I think 3rd place gets 45 points, 7th gets 36. So right now, I think that would put only about a 9-point gap between him and Kraus, Adam Blocker and Kraus. I think Blocker might have led a lap under yellow as well, so make it about a 10-point gain right now. It would be for Adam Blocker, which isn't quite that much, but going into a double points in 2 weeks, it's huge to gain anything he possibly can. So right now, I think technically it'd be 17 back, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, and I think this is not what Philip Kraus wants. He wants to get back in front of Blocker and extend it, because even though he's got a little bit of a cushion, it's still easily overcomable, not only just tonight, but especially, again, at Auto Club when double points are on tap. So that's something Kraus doesn't want to deal with. He wants to be as secure as he can coming out of tonight, but obviously Blocker not willing to keel over this battle. He's still trying to fight for every single point he can to try to get back further back in the championship fight.
One thing that's helping him is Chris Stouffer not laying over. He let the top 4 go, but right now he's holding up Adams, Brophy, and Kraus is coming right into this battle as Chris Stouffer will not budge.
It's a contact Adams into the wall with Stouffer, and I imagine we're going to see a caution because of this.
They're not around, so it might not bring one out. There is debris on the track as Stouffer and David Adams up against the wall. Stouffer turns it to the bottom. We might not have a yellow for this, as here comes the leaders. Kingsbury's actually taking the lead as here they come into turn number 1. Adams is coming down the racetrack right in front of the leader. My goodness, that was almost catastrophic.
We're taking a look at the incident because I thought this was going to be said and done, but it's a replay of what Connor was freaking out about. Whoa, that's a little dangerous.
Yeah, that was crazy. Musselman almost got the lead back because of that. Kingsbury keeps it. Blocker's right back next to these guys as Brophy's 5th. Kraus has gotten up to 6th because of that. David Adams, really unfortunate. as he's going to wheel it back to his pit stall somehow with the suspensions completely broken. But he definitely had a top 3 run going, and that's what happens when lap cars can be in the mix sometimes.
Yeah, and you're probably wondering why Stover is still out there. I mean, fighting with these guys. Remember, there's no lucky dog as well. That's only really a NASCAR thing. So these guys, they gotta fight for their lead a lap back. So Stofers was trying to fight as hard as he could to potentially get past Musselman, and then just try to maintain the lead, or do what he could to maintain the lead. But as he started to slip through the field, just trying to keep that alive, hoping maybe next time they had to come down to pits, that he could have possibly found himself back on the lane lap and kept out. But unfortunately for both those drivers, it's going to be an early night over, or at least at the very least a lengthy repair in the pits.
That could have been huge, too. Kraus was just behind that. I was figuring one of those cars were going to shoot low into Kraus. That could have been terrible.
Yeah, and Kraus up into 6th place was able to get 7th after what happened to David Adams. Was able to usurp that position. Joe Branch, just saw him flash green for a second. Oh, Jason Brof? No, wasn't it? Oh, Adam Blocker is suffering from connection issues, I think is what's causing that.
And he hasn't came back just quite yet.
He's flashing repeatedly on the ticker, so it looks like his connection is kind of still there.
Oh, he's still 100.
Yeah, it's not quite an ideal situation.
See if he even stays 3rd. There's times when you lag out for so long that you can drop through the order.
He's 10th now, back into 3rd. He's still the server is still getting data that he's still somewhat there. It is not stabilized. In fact, I think we see in front of Joe Branch. There you can see, I think he's hopefully the worst of it. That's the worst feeling as a driver. You look to your right side, you just see the ping bar, yellow and red, and just flashing repeatedly, and you see everyone else around the track start flashing, disappearing.
Not a fun experience.
It's really not fun. It's very stressful. I was in an IndyCar race earlier this season in a different league. And yeah, I was running at Motegi, running in 4th place. I had the internet poop out. I think it was a server issue. It was an iRacing server problem, because I think one other driver also lost connection, and some other drivers were dealing with connection issues. Yeah, so he ended. So I ended up getting kicked out of the server. Ended up finishing like 20th or something like that after running in for the top 5 all day. So at least for Blocker, looks like he's through the worst of it. He's going to maintain that 3rd place position, but for Philip Kraus, he's able to get past Jason Brophy and is now in 5th, looking at Branch and Blocker up ahead.
Worst thing Blocker wants to see other than that pink bar is probably that pink number, I can't find the number, that pink number 19 getting closer and closer in his rearview mirror. Anything that he can gain is going to be pretty much non-existent if Kraus even gets to the position behind him. It's not really going to mean too much if he can't gain at least 10, 15, maybe even 20 points.
I see open a driver off of pit road. That is David Adams getting back on the track. Props to him. He is 12 laps down in 13th. At the moment, no real chance of gaining position. I think he's going to hope that some other misfortune occurs to some other drivers. He can try to make up some points. It's never too late to points race, so he's going to try to make the best of this night, running in 13th at the moment. But again, looking at Ray Kingsbury up in the lead for 2nd lead to AJ Musselman. This is a fantastic job by Kingsbury tonight. Definitely, if we did give a driver of the day, I think I'd say it's Ray Kingsbury, because he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, it's not even close as Stouffer comes out of pit lane as well, 2 laps behind David Adams. Wonder if they get together again. But really, it's been perfect for Ray Kingsbury. I was talking about it with you earlier before we went live, how some drivers are practicing 150, even some close to 250 plus laps.
Who was
in
the
2
one
hours.
that practiced the most? I forgot who that was.
Andreas Ike put in specifically, this isn't a knock Ike either. Practice is important to making yourself a better driver. He ran 251 practice laps, and actually his last lap was the fastest. So it pays to practice, obviously. But one interesting thing about Ray Kingsbury, he only practiced 50 laps, 5 times less than Andreas Ike did, and he was fast in qualifying, and he's been able to, he's not without sort of being scared, because that rear end keeps twitching, but he only ran about 50 practice laps, and he's still been literally in a league of his own tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Ike, if anything, his biggest attribute is really his consistency. He hasn't gone out and straight up blitz past everyone, but he's ran stupidly consistent in a lot of cases, and he held the points lead pretty much because of that. So for the early part of the season, we saw him pretty much taken out of the battle of it due to what happened at Kansas with Ike taking out in a lap run wreck. But he's running. But for Ike, he's running pretty well up in 7th. First time we actually mentioned him on the broadcast. He's been having a fairly quiet night. It seems in the number 76 car.
Yeah, he's done a great job just keeping it clean so far and staying out of the mistakes by other drivers like Adams and Stouffer has gotten him up to maybe at least a couple positions better than he was. And it's been a bunch of other guys who've been big movers. Kingsbury went fourth the first.
Sorry to cut you off. Andrew Wood down on pit lane. I feel like that's a little bit early of a stop. I think we saw guys come down, what, lap 60?
Well, it was around 50 to 60.
Okay, so actually this is on target. I can't
Not
keep
too
track of
far
time.
off. Not too far off target. I can't imagine. It'll be close to go 60 laps. We saw drivers trying to stretch at 60 laps, but you saw a lot of drivers not going 60 laps.
Yeah, I think because, I mean, doing the math, if you did 60, 60, 60, that should add up to 180. So I think drivers went a little bit shorter than that. I imagine they can stretch it to 60. And we're probably going to see a lot of guys try to just make it past the 100 lap mark as we were just ticking on by this time through.
Mosman really went around 55 laps earlier, and that was the farthest anyone went before the yellow. And who knows how much longer he could have gone. Speaking of Musselman, he really benefited from the yellow. 11th up to 2nd. Joe Branch went 16th to 4th because of that. So those strategies really played out for those guys.
Yeah, again, just being patient, just kind of letting the strategy play out. I mean, even Adam Blocker, too, didn't gain quite as many positions as his colleagues around him. But went up 4 positions up into the 3rd. And again, as far as the title fight's concerned, he's going to at least walk out of here with a net gain in the points. And then, as I mentioned, Joe Branch, biggest mover of the race, from dead last up into 4th place. Solid run for Joe Branch.
Another battle. Brophy got passed by Kraus, but he's still staying with Kraus. Not really making a immediate charge for the position. Running the top, Kraus runs the bottom 3-4. Does get a good run, but I don't think he's going to really want to go low on Kraus to make this move.
Yeah, I definitely think, very least, definitely keeping Kraus a little bit occupied in the mind, at least, because he's all over the back of him, getting pretty close and trying to make some moves happen. So Kraus is going to have to put more mental energy trying to figure out how to defend from Brophy to make sure he doesn't get on past.
It's really all a game, isn't it? Trying to pick which line the driver's going to run is pretty much a game in itself. It's a game within the race. If he goes low and you go low, you're screwed. Go high and you go high, you're screwed. You have to somehow... It's all a guessing game, and you just have to hope you win the 50-50 battle.
Gonzaga 160 here, entering its final stages. About 50 laps to go here. But again, with Ray Kingsbury, your leader, 7.5. You have to keep looking back at this ticker more often. 7.5, 8 seconds now. The lead between him and Musselman. It's absolutely extraordinary the amount of pace this car has had. He's a half a lap ahead of the second place driver. There's Ray Kingsbury across the line, and there's Musselman heading off into turn number 2.
And Adam Blocker just can't find a way to get any closer. He's trying to run different lines as him and Christopher are right next to each other again. He's trying different stuff, but just can't make it work as Kingsbury's going to get by another lap car. Tony Schoen goes a 4th lap down now as trying to look at the other battle. Andrew Wood, that's not a battle.
It's not been quite a good night for Tony Schoen.
Kingsbury.
Yep, and Kingsbury, as you saw right there, heading off into pit lane. So let's imagine we'll probably kickstart the second wave of green flag stops. We did see Wood and Schoen already actually ended up heading to pit road, so this will kick off this next wave, I imagine.
Here comes Kraus. Kraus is going to run on Joe Branch as this is the battle for 3rd now as Kraus looking to be outside, trying to get a run on Branch. Branch giving him the outside. Kraus is actually going to dive on the pit lane.
Yeah, maybe see that's a smart move here, deciding to pass in the pits rather than on track. It's a matter of making sure he gets slowed down in time. Definitely managed to do so. So we'll see if that's going to benefit him. Looking back at where Joe Branch is running, see if Branch is going to answer the call. Looks like he is. Another driver behind him, I believe Jason Brophy, is also coming on in.
Along with Adam Blocker, who also came in. Kingsbury's already off of pit road. Trevor Greenfield will be the next driver to dive into the pits as Busselman stays out, trying to play the long game again.
Yeah, we'll see with him. There he is actually coming onto pit lane right now. Andreas Ike also making the dive to pit lane, and it looks like everyone's coming in now. Except for Alexander Ball, I think is the only driver out on track that is yet to come down to pit lane. It's going to try to stay out, hope for another caution to come out. He can benefit quite a bit if that is the case.
Kingsbury's in 3 and 4 now. I'm trying to see where he's going to come out in regards to guys like Adam Blocker and others. Is Joe Branch and Jason Brophy are off of pit road. I don't know if Kingsbury's coming up to lap them, or...
It's kind of tough to tell. He's coming to lap David Adams. He is in the lead at the moment. At least it's showing on our timing and scoring.
Philip Kraus come together. The two championship leaders come together, and Kraus is destroyed.
Car is
my goodness.
wrecked, and championship implications. Where's Adam Blocker?
My goodness.
Blocker's car is fine, but for Philip Kraus, his car not looking too hot.
Oh my goodness.
This is a battle on track for a position. These guys both coming off of pits, entering turn number 1 and 2, getting really tight. Oh, some netcode I imagine involved, but Kraus, the end result for Kraus, hard into the wall.
It could have been netcode, but that's Blocker definitely came off the bottom. You can see this is definitely a battle for position. Kraus, I think, undercut Blocker, trying to get around him on the outside. Blocker doesn't want to give up that position, fires it on the inside. Definitely netcode, no doubt about it. Very tight racing there. I don't think Blocker might have been netcode, but he's still not going to be happy about a Blocker.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Kraus didn't limp the car back to pit lane, because as far as I'm aware, you can still fix that car back up. It's not going to be pretty, but and it'll take a little while, but I guess decided it's better to just chill. We'll see if Kraus does decide to get back out and check, because again, at this stage in the season, every single point is going to count.
He's got to. He's the points leader. He has to salvage something, possibly.
Guess we're right on board with Adam Blocker's point of view.
You see, he knows Kraus is going to pass him, tries to make that last dive, hits one of the bumps down there, just shoots him with the track. And you can see right front, those tires didn't make contact. There was big netcode.
It's always unfortunate to get these kind of incidents. I guess we'll take a look at it again, since these guys are under caution. Most of the drivers did pit.
Try to see here, just to see how close it was. It was close.
Yeah, sir. See if we can get some slow-mo going here. Not sure that's the best view, but we'll work with it for now. But yeah, not quite a lot of contact between these two. Getting off the screen. I think this might be a little bit better of a view. You can see Kraus is diving in a little bit low, and then just a slight tap there. No real direct contact. And then Kraus just hard into the wall. So, yeah.
Does a wheelie, he hit so hard.
And I guess for Blocker, you're going to be happy with the outcome of that, as his car is completely fine. Kraus probably not going to be happy with that, as his car is in the pits.
Yeah. See where he drops to. Every driver, other than Evan Adams and Andrew Kinsella, is still running. The last of them, Christopher, who's 13 laps down now. So Kraus will likely go back to at least 14th. And if Adam Blocker was to finish second with Philip Kraus, if Philip Kraus was to be 14th and Blocker 22nd, I keep messing it up. I do apologize. If 14th place to second place, it's a big gap. It's about a 28-point gap. So if Philip finishes 14th and Blocker finishes second and stays there, we have a new point leader.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think especially because Adam Blocker, I believe he led a lap while...
Yes, he has.
While, let's see here, has led exactly one lap this race.
That could be the difference between points leader and tied.
Yeah, and then I don't think Philip Kraus also led one lap.
Okay,
don't remember when that happened, but he was also probably on the first pit stop sequence. I think he stayed out extra lap or two, because I think he was running at still like third or fourth at that point. So I think he just decided to pit a lap later. But again, every point's going to count, and both these guys are pretty much going to cross that column out, as they're both going to gain the same amount, and obviously not going to get most laps led. It's probably going to go to this man. Ray Kingsbury, 62 laps led, is 20 laps shy of clinching that, and even then I think is more or less going to be taking that home, as I think the only other driver that's led anywhere close to that amount is Jason Brophy. He's led 25.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be able to get to him, really, so it's going to be pretty big. Lap cars come in, Alexander Ball, David Adams come in, and it is a 28-point gap between 2nd and 14th. So if Kraus does drop down there, Adams and Stouffer might park it. Kraus might get back on track before they pass him. But right now, as it stands, Adam Blocker would have a 1-point lead.
Yeah, looking at Philip Kraus, still not got back in his car. I'm not sure if they are still repairing that car, if it's been repaired or not.
It's actually decently repaired.
Is he still in the server?
He is in the car.
Oh, okay.
Kraus is in the car right now. You can see his character in the car. So,
yeah, so he's getting ready to get back out on track. It actually looks like the car is pretty fixed. I think he jumped back out. I think they're not quite done fixing that car just yet, but wings and bodywork look to be back on that thing, so it's ready to go, and I think he's going to want to try to get back out there in a hurry. Again, he's really just trying to fight to stay ahead of David Adams and Christopher, who, as we mentioned, both still out on the track running. We got 14, actually at the moment, 13 drivers out on the track, pending Philip Kraus can get back into the action, but up in front, Blocker running in second place, third on the track as Greenfield stuck in between himself and race leader Ray Kingsbury as he leads the field back to green, and we are green here again at Iowa.
whoa, Blocker got a really good restart. Or Greenfield just didn't get a good one, so Blocker's going to be clear all the way. Just him and Kingsbury clear of the lap car of Trevor Greenfield.
Yeah, we'll see what Blocker can do. He definitely knows this is his chance to make up a huge amount of points on his championship competitor, Philip Kraus, potentially taking the points lead back. This is an ideal situation for him. It's now time to make the most of it as he's running in second place, trying to catch Ray Kingsbury, arguably the fastest car here tonight. Looking in behind them, Musselman, Ike Bennett racing it out for third place.
This is the race for the win. Really shouldn't be any more pit stops as 40 laps to go this time by. Fuel should be good to go, and we should see just a all-out brawl to the finish.
Yeah, it's a sprint from here on out. Everything on tap, everything you got to lay it out on the line. Musselman trying to keep Ike in his dirty air so he can defend that final podium spot. Ike trying to make the most out of a decent night. Who has been running in the later half of the top 10, is now up inside the top 5. See if he's got anything to show for it up in near the front. And Jason Brophy back in 6th place to the inside. Henry Bennett for 5th.
And Brophy really needs to get back up there. He's been pretty solid all night, and now he's pretty much lost the track position he initially had, trying to get by Henry Bennett again for that top 5 position. Just can't make it work on the bottom quite yet.
Yeah, gets a great run out of turn number 4. Is going to try to do something, get some sort of slipstream from any car up in front. Have a look down in the inside, dive it to the bottom, to the yellow line. And some traffic here as people working around the lap car. Trevor Greenfield up near the top, that aquamarine car. In behind Andreas Ike as he looks to the bottom.
Philip Kraus is back on track. He's through turns 3 and 4 right now, and he stayed a lap in front of Adams, 3 laps ahead of Christopher. So right now, instead of 14th, he'd be 12th, and that's the difference between being a point back and 3 points ahead. I think as it stands right now, 12th place would put him 3 ahead.
Yeah, and at the very least, he's not going to lose any more points as it stands. There's David Adams, the next car, trying to chase down Philip Kraus. Is just about a lap behind to Philip Kraus, and Kraus is going to hope that he can stay there. Here's Ray Kingsbury, though. Adam Blocker in behind, looking lap times last time through. Blocker, about 0.02 of a second faster, so was definitely keeping up with Kingsbury, and I think much to Kingsbury's displeasure, as he's been able to break away and sprint past pretty much everyone else, and open up a huge gap. Blocker still hanging in.
I'm kind of surprised Blocker's been hanging in. He couldn't do that on the run before, albeit he had lap traffic and others to get through, but you see Kingsbury maybe a bit concerned. You see him breaking the draft down the back straightaway. It's not that big of a straightaway to be doing that, but he's trying different lines, not going to the bottom through 1 and 2. He's kind of in a spot that we haven't seen him be in before. He's been on the attack all night, and all of a sudden he's got to defend the maybe points leader soon.
Yeah, I was going to say on Blocker, again, you get a lot of points the way the weighting is for these IndyCar championships. You get a lot of points, really for any open wheel championship for that matter. You get a lot of points between 2nd and 1st place, and Blocker definitely knows that is going to be definitely a tough thing to do, considering the sheer amount of pace that Kingsbury has in his machine. I imagine that Blocker probably not going to be too upset with finishing in 2nd place, as I think for most of the night it was looking like he... Whoa! It was looking like he wouldn't finish ahead of Philip Kraus, and doing stuff like that, he's definitely not. That got very close.
I know he wants to win. That would be huge for the points, but do not give away a 2nd place finish. Don't risk that type of corner exit. You bend the suspensions, you're going to go rocketing to the rear of the field. He's been flirting with it all night, but so is everyone else. That's the closest probably anyone's got.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to show a replay there. I forgot to hit the replay button. I was getting very close to the wall, but yeah, I imagine he's not going to want to do more things like that. Otherwise, Philip Kraus is going to do a little bit of a happy song and dance as his rivals are going to also be dealing with some damage.
They're actually going to come up the lap Kraus here soon. I would figure Kraus knows it was netcode. He did say words after the initial incident, but
Yeah,
I didn't hear what it was though.
I don't think Kraus is gonna do anything. I'll be a little bit surprised. You know, when you're in a championship fight, I mean, if he does take him out, he's just gonna get docked a bunch of points, and Blocker has a much better shot of walking away with it. So I think best to do the talking out on track. And while he really can't do a whole lot tonight, again in 2 weeks' time for the finale at Auto Club. If you really wanted a good tight championship fight, well, you got it, because these guys are going to be looking at a near tie heading into the final round. I think this is as close of a championship battle as you could ask for. So definitely tune into the finale on October 19th for the Indy Elite Series, because it's going to be a spicy one, as these guys, again, no, not battling it on the track here tonight. They're going to be in an all-out brawl for the championship next week, and they see Kraus going to let Blocker on by.
Yeah, so obviously no hard feelings really from Kraus, as there shouldn't be with anything hard feelings for iRacing, because that stuff just shouldn't happen. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how the rest of this race plays out. I don't think you're going to be able to see much more shifting of positions, although saying that, Kraus definitely looks lower on speed. The car definitely not up to the speed that even David Adams is. David Adams is into turn 1 right now. Philip Kraus is out of turn 4, so a long ways to go to drop back that far to even get passed by David Adams. But
yeah,
if that's what happens, it would be
he's running
huge.
about a second almost off the pace compared to some of these guys. Actually taking a look, it looks like Adams is slowly reeling Kraus back in. I don't think he's got enough time, though. He's only now up to 12 seconds back with just over 20 laps to go. So not a whole lot that's going to change here. Again, this is Kraus just trying to mitigate damage at this point, just not drop any more positions. Then eventually, if someone does wreck in the next 10 or so laps, he can actually gain another spot. Although, for the most part, looking fairly spread out here in the later stages of this race.
Yeah, it got very spread out all of a sudden. Kingsbury getting through some lap cars. David Adams did go down another lap. Chris Stouffer would be next to go down a 14th lap. And then Alexander Ball, among others, a bit farther ahead. Walker and Musselman, Ike on their own. Henry Bennett getting by Kraus. Probably the closest battle is for that 5th position. Henry Bennett, Andrew Wood, Trevor Greenfield is... Andrew Wood and Greenfield are battling right now. Actually, that's for the 8th position as they both go by Kraus.
Take a look at both these guys here. There is Philip Kraus just up ahead. It's actually going to be a bit of a block in this battle. And there goes Greenfield on by. And Andrew Wood, as mentioned, trying to just hold position. Started all the way up in 3rd, is back into 8th. So not an ideal night for Wood in the 64, but somewhat alright. He's going to finish at least in the top half of the field. Got the biggest mover still, Joe Branch in the 28. Dropped back to 6th since the last restart, but still up 10 positions from the start of the race. And also Musselman up 8 positions from where he started 11th up into 3rd for him.
Gonna note a incident that we actually missed. Jason Brophy's way off the pace. He's in 7th now with damage on the front wing. It happened at a turn number 4, and like on around lap 125, Brophy got loose behind Greenfield. Henry Bennett kind of got loose trying to shoot the middle, and big netcode happened between him and Brophy. Brophy barely missed the inside wall, but that was an incident we missed, and Brophy's got damage because of it.
I'm actually trying to see. Oh yeah, it looks like is it the right tail of the ring or the left tail of it, the end plate?
I'm trying to check what moved when it happened, because it was netcode.
Yeah, I don't think I see any damage on my screen.
The right of the front wing got a little bit crinkled from it, but not too much. Is really not much damage visibly.
I see maybe some on the left side. It looks like the left side may be dented in. I'm not quite sure. It's kind of tough to tell.
It's very not visible at all, but there was netcode that happened, and you can tell his pace has dropped drastically.
Yeah, I was going to say, even if there's just a small crinkle damage, it completely affects the cars, as you mentioned. They really need every single bit of aero working properly, and that's again probably due to really explaining Philip Kraus's lack of pace. Yeah, they fixed that thing on. They got some body covers back on, but especially the floor, they're really not going to be able to fix a lot of that damage. So that's really going to affect a lot of how this car is going to be handling around here. So the car looks fine, but it's not really fine.
No, it's not fine at all. Just per usual, it looks fine on the outside, but internally, it's just not doing so well.
Looking at just over 10 laps to go. Greenfield on the back of Andrew. He's been having a silently decent night. Greenfield started back in 10th place, up into 9th, looking at trying to get past Wood here in these closing laps of the race. Also, there's David Adams, who getting passed by some of the guys. Adams is trying to stay out of the way at this point.
Surprised Evan Adams. I'm trying to see who that was. Yeah, that was correct. Just trying to look at any battles going on. Really, everything's spread out. A second between Ike and Henry Bennett. Joe Branch well clear of Jason Brophy. And that last yellow really shuffled things up more than even the first yellow because Andrew Wood, Trevor Greenfield, Tony Schoen, they all got trapped a lap down.
Yeah, it's really one of the unfortunate things when you get something like that. It can either benefit you or really mess with your strategy and mess with your race position. Just kind of throw you completely off guard. As you mentioned, also throw you a lap down if you're really in for a bad night.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. And it happens often at Iowa. It happened in an Xfinity race not too many years ago. So it's just something that's sort of common at a three-quarter mile track. It can happen so quickly because this track's always dangerous. The sort of race is like a short track and an intermediate track, and that just spells trouble. And when an incident like that happens, you're gonna be trapped multiple laps down in any of these series that race here. So
yeah,
it's just
I mean,
always
it's
a
also
threat here.
a blisteringly quick lap. I mean, 16. These guys are doing 16, 17, 17 seconds more likely around this track. 16 seconds with fresh tires on, but yeah, it's a blisteringly quick lap. If you get just a little bit off guard or an incident happens in the middle of a pit cycle, you're going to be 1 lap, maybe 2 laps down if you're really unlucky. But coming to 5 laps to go, one man who hasn't been unlucky, Ray Kingsbury, absolutely dominating tonight. Starting in 4th, went up to 1st relatively quickly. Had a little bit of a setback after the first caution, but just stayed there the rest of the night. No one else able to really hold a candle on him. Has in fact expanded that lead. We saw Blocker. He was able to hold on just a little bit earlier on, but he's been slowly drifting back. Now they got 5 seconds between himself and Kingsbury.
Yeah, I don't know how much we've really seen this from Ray Kingsbury this season. Trying to look at his stats, he has not won this season. Top 10 in every single one, but coming into tonight, Ray Kingsbury had 1 top 5, so just a really swell job. He completely nailed the setup, knew exactly what this car needed.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to go now.
Yeah, I saw Blocker, I think, had a little bit of a flash on screen. I think that's the last thing he needs after many things going his way tonight. Last thing he wanted was to be kicked out of the server with just 2 laps to go.
Yeah, that'd be pretty terrible. But like I said, Kingsbury 1 top 5 coming tonight. Completely nailed the setup. Pretty much a perfect night. Had some setbacks, but he's just been on fire. AJ Moosman, Andreas Ike, really good drives from them, especially Moosman up 8 spots. White flag.
Yeah, white flag in the air for Ray Kingsbury. We haven't really said enough about what he's been able to accomplish. As Connor Horn mentioned, no wins this season for Ray Kingsbury and only 1 top 5 fire where he's going to add +1 to both of those columns as he rounds out at turn number 4. And Ray Kingsbury will walk out of here, your winner here at Iowa. Fantastic job for him. Adam Blocker is also going to be a very happy man, finishing 2nd with his championship rival finishing back in 12th, going to gain a heavy bounty of points to close that championship battle back up. And AJ Musselman with some great strategy, able to keep that car up in sight to round out your podium places. Andreas Ike finishing in 4th with Henry Bennett rounding out your top 5.
Joe Branch 6th, rounding out your lead lap car. So Branch, Brophy, Greenfield, Wood, Schoen, the top 10. And then Ball, Philip Kraus back in 12th. Adams, Stouffer, Kinsella, Evan Adams. And that should put the points lead from 27 all the way down to 3, which means double points next week. Biggest, highest finisher wins, basically. It's going to be huge going into Auto Club.
Yeah, I was going to say, with these guys going in, pending any post-race penalties, which I don't think we really expect at this point, they should be at a virtual tie. So, yeah, it is really going to come down to best place finisher, which is exactly what you want to see. It's going to be absolute fantastic to watch both these guys. They've been fighting all season long, and the fight is still far from over yet. I'm sure Kraus is looking to try to make the battle less aggressive, but he's going to have to fight tooth and nail for it here. As we'll talk currently AJ Musselman waiting in the booth, so we'll drag him in for an interview. Hey AJ, you got a copy? This is MTV.
Hey there guys, I got a copy.
Well man, you did a fantastic job. It wasn't looking to be an okay night for you earlier on, but wow, did that first caution really help you out with track position?
Yeah, in the first stint, I was having a tough time getting by Stouffer there, so I gave up and just put it in the map 5 and saved fuel and just hoped for a miracle, and then, the miracle came.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Really, as far as that's concerned, did you feel like you had any chance at trying to get the win? We know that Ray Kingsbury goes blisteringly fast out there.
Kingsbury was on another level tonight. I don't think anybody could stick with him. After I had the lead, my goal was just to get a top 5, so I'll gladly take a podium.
Yeah, indeed. And also looking to next week, Auto Club, I know fairly different, even though both of those tracks are ovals. Looking at 2 fairly different ovals. I mean, this with the short oval package, and then you got the Super Speedway package there at Auto Club. How are you feeling your chances at Auto Club not next week, sorry, 2 weeks. I keep saying next week. It's 2 weeks out.
I love the 2-mile ovals, Michigan and Auto Club. They race completely different, but I love the wide open track. I normally hate pack racing, but Auto Club's a place where I can feel like probably navigate my way to a top 10. That'd be a great way to finish the year.
Yeah, indeed. Well, AJ, thanks for talking to us. Great job in your 3rd place finish. So the best of luck to you next, again, almost said next week again. Best of luck next race at the finale for the season.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
You too. And then we got now next in the booth, Ray Kingsbury, your winner for tonight. What a fantastic job, Ray. I mean, you just absolutely went out there and dominated. How did you manage to get your car to be so quick? Because I'm sure us in the booth as well as the rest of your competitors are dying to know.
We've been fast on all the short ovals all season. It was just a matter of time. We found how to make it stable on the first couple laps and just survive the first couple laps, because I think we could have had a few wins already, but figured it out for tonight. And well, it was fast. Definitely fast. I didn't know in the first stint we actually had some damage, so we had to repair that, but still managed to get out in the lead, so that was really good to see.
Yeah, I mean, was there anyone else you were really, earlier on in the race, because obviously saw you work through the field relatively quickly, did you feel like there's anyone else out there that you were kind of trying to keep, in behind you, or were you pretty confident with how tonight was going to play out?
Just based on what I saw with the car, I was pretty confident we were gonna walk away from people pretty much. It was just a matter of getting the car out in front and then also keeping it there without, any fuel issues, hitting the wall, issues with lap traffic, all that good stuff. So the car was super loose the first few laps, even with really, kind of under driving it. So that had me nervous. If Blocker got out in front of me, there's a chance he could have kept it.
Yeah, well, looking to next week, last race of the season, imagine this is going to be a huge boost to morale going into that race. How are you feeling at your chances of getting a second win, getting 2 in a row?
I mean, never count me out on an oval. I mean, especially a super speedway, anybody can win those. But I can't really say I've driven this car there before. In the last, I don't know, maybe the last time Elite was there, the last time I was there. So our short track package and our road course package is definitely our strength. I think our results this year didn't really speak to the quality of cars we were putting together, but this one certainly did.
Yeah, well, while the season may not have played out in your favor, you definitely at least got a solid win for this season, Ray. Thanks for talking to us. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and with that, we don't have Adam Blocker waiting quite yet. We don't have him in the waiting room. Hopefully he does join us. I'd love to get a quick word from him before tonight is over. But I'll take this look to go through your race results just one more time. But yeah, again, Ray Kingsbury, your winner, did a fantastic job. I think we probably said enough for him at this point in time, with Adam Blocker finishing in second. Actually, speaking of Adam Blocker, saw him jump in, jump out. There he is back in again. Adam Blocker at SimTV, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, Adam, I think this night probably played out as well as you would have probably hoped, other than you getting the win, but still second place definitely not too bad, especially with your championship competitor finishing back in 12th place. We saw both of you had a bit of contact, a little bit due to a neck code, but if you can kind of give us an eye on what you saw out on track.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to thank all the Power Slide guys for all the effort on the setup. I don't think we were where we wanted to be. I think Ray definitely had the fastest car, and our car wasn't great, especially in traffic. But yeah, I mean, kind of got lucky with the first yellow. I was kind of saving a little bit of fuel just in case it went green the whole way, because it's a small field, so it could have went green. Ultimately, that allowed me to. Having the caution come out when I was in the pits allowed me to jump a lot of guys, and it was really why I finished second. And yeah, Kraus and I made contact. Honestly, I watched the replay and I left him a lane. In my opinion, if I was running on the high line there, I would have had my right side tires on the dash line, and he would have. And if he had done that, he still would have cleared me. But I think he got loose and ended up pinching me down. And then there was a good bit of net code too. So I mean, I don't really know what I could have done too much different. So.
Well, whatever was the cause or whoever was really at fault, really the fact of the matter is that you got a huge amount of points to your total. If I'm not mistaken, should be almost tied with Kraus, if not slightly ahead of him. So with you guys being very close in the points heading into the final round, how are you planning on approaching the race, or are you just going to approach it like any other weekend?
Yeah, I mean, you have to approach it like any other race, but you know, whatever the points gap is, it'll definitely be in the back of your mind. And you always, you know, if you know, okay, I have to finish fourth or whatever, then you're not going to try something crazy to go for the win if you're in a safe spot with regards to that spot. So, yeah, it kind of just depends on what the point scenario is and everything. But yeah, you definitely think about it. But in terms of preparation for the race and everything, it's the same.
All right, well, Adam, thanks for talking to us. Best of luck for your championship hopes next week at Auto Club.
Yep, see you then.
I need to get myself a calendar or something, because I keep saying next week. I don't know why I think these guys stopped doing weekly for this season. But it's not going to be 1 week. It's going to be 2 weeks' time at Auto Club. But we'll go through quickly your race results one more time here. As we mentioned, Kingsbury up on top, and then Blocker in second. Other notables, Joe Branch finishing in sixth. Really good run for him. Benefited quite a bit from the caution earlier and ended up finishing solidly inside the top 10. Brophy looking like he had a good run early on, is going to have to deal with 7th place. And then, as we mentioned, all the way back in 12th place, Philip Kraus going to be probably disappointed with the way tonight went. Going to have a lot of work to do going into Auto Club.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's going to have a sour taste in his mouth, and there really wasn't anything he could do about netcode, as it's unofficial from my count, but it should be a 3-point lead for Kraus over Adam Blocker going into next week. At a double points race, it's going to be pretty much highest finisher wins, showing that you don't need a playoff system for that to be the case every single time. But in all reality, it's going to be crazy. Auto Club is such a crazy track, such an awesome track for a championship finale of these Indy cars. I wish they did go there. Obviously, like you said earlier, there's clear reasons why they can't and why they won't. But it's definitely going to be a banger of a track, a banger of a race, and it's going to be very intense between those two drivers.
Absolutely. If you don't want to miss that fantastic fight, do subscribe to SimTV, because I absolutely cannot wait. I am pretty sure I'm going to be covering that race with Kyle. I got to double check with him, because I definitely want to, because we're in for a fantastic fight. Last season in the championship, we kind of expected Kraus to walk away with the cup in hand, but now he's going to have to fight a little bit harder to try to defend that title, because he's got Adam Blocker, a very quick driver, chasing him in behind, and also actually heading in with a slight advantage. So again, that's going to be 2 weeks time on October 19th. Do tune in, because it's going to be a fantastic one to watch. But for tonight, my name is Shuni Kuna here with Connor Horn. We're going to be signing out. Thank you for watching.